Akash Inti, the real reflection of you. Nothing changes without you. And by that I mean none of our lives change without us. We are the force that changes our own lives. And that happens through our efforts, our time, our energy, and our resources. Change doesn't happen just like that, even though it completely does. Rather, change happens when we commit ourselves to it and make concerted efforts every single day to reaffirm our commitments to it. And it's these consistent, steady efforts that make all of the difference. In a moment, you see nothing. Maybe a small change, a slight change. An example, someone's trying to shape their body and shape their, check it out, a couple deer just hanging out. Shape their body and shape their minds as well. And how do they do this? Well, it's through the small efforts of a workout. You see, when we work out the body, we're also working out the mind. When we're working out our physical being, there's a stress that's created in our mind as well, because the mind and the body are intricately related to each other. The mind and the body are one. They're not separate. And so when we work the body, we're working the mind. And when we work the mind, we are working the body. In this manner, some of the most intelligent people, or those who work with their minds, have also intricately worked with their body. And it's fascinating because most aren't aware of this or don't take notice of this. But some of the most brilliant minds actually know their body incredibly well. But it's the small, consistent changes and efforts that we make that make the difference. Change doesn't happen just like that, even though it does. Change happens in each moment, consistent moments of action. And that's the beauty of change, you know? Flowers have bloomed. When we change ourselves, we actually change everything around us, which is the craziest, most interesting piece of this all, at least to me. Because when we change ourselves, the things around us change to us. They conform to us. What do I mean by that? That's like a really abstract concept. Take, for example, a man who is an addict. In his early days, when he goes to walking around the neighborhood, what he sees around him are different locations in which he can use. Different locations that may provide him cover. He may see individuals around him and think, does this individual have drugs on them? Or does this individual have any money on them? How could I rob them? The addict is seeking to only serve the self and serve that temporary pleasure. And this is not the addict, but rather the addiction within the addict. Take that same individual, exact same individual, after he's dedicated himself to a life of sobriety, and put him in that same environment, walking around his neighborhood. This individual, the sober, recovered addict, sees the environments around him, yes, as places that he could use, for that was his old self, and he is still an addict. Yet recognizes that he's grateful for his past and sees the environment around him very differently, noticing the intricacies of the trees or the way the pavements looks. Or maybe he notices a path that he never walked down before, because that path before was never availed to him. You see, when we change ourselves, things around us change. And change doesn't happen just like that, even though it does. Keep up, thrive, stay sexy.